Speaking of Tony Buzbee, we've got some more news about Tony Buzbee, and it looks like he's still not off the hook. As we discussed in previous videos, Tony Buzbee got in trouble with the Southern District of New York, not only in the instance with Jane Doe and his lawsuit against Jay-Z and Diddy, but in 20 plus other instances because he was moving in the Southern District of New York like he was supposed to be there without being admitted to sign all the papers that he was signing. So now judges and more judges are starting to catch wind of what Tony Buzbee was up to. And Diddy said he's going to take a turn and try and figure out how many of these lawsuits he can get thrown out because Tony Buzbee didn't do what he was supposed to do. So what is this most recent judge saying? Shout out to Megan Cuniff for this over on X. She says another judge is taking issue with attorney Tony Buzbee's lack of admission to the Southern District of New York. Let's read what they say. We've got John Doe versus Diddy. Ronnie Abrams, United States District Judge. What does the judge say? It has come to the court's attention that Anthony Buzbee, who signed the complaint and several other filings on behalf of plaintiff, and then they have the complaint there, has not been admitted to practice in the Southern District of New York. Moreover, although Mr. Buzbee was warned several weeks ago in a parallel case that this conduct violated the local civil rule 1.3, he failed to bring the issue to the court's attention. No later than March 18th, Mr. Buzbee shall file a letter explaining why he failed to notify the court about the issue earlier and proposing next steps to rectify. They're not giving this man any breaks. So now, as we know, Tony Buzbee, he made himself out to be the Diddy killer. I don't even know if I should say that, but he was put his 800 number out there saying, oh, we've got hundreds and hundreds of cases we're going to be going after Diddy with. All in the meanwhile, he was not admitted to practice in the Southern District of New York. Messed up. So now we're having to backtrack. We've got Judge Ronnie Abrams here is saying that by the 18th, which is next Tuesday, I need a letter explaining why this happened. I guarantee in that letter, he's going to blame what happened with Jay-Z and this whole lawsuit, because one of the reasons he wasn't admitted into the Southern District of New York is not necessarily because anything that he did wrong, but it's because the judge saw how he was moving and he maybe put the cart before the horse and he wasn't admitted. So he started signing papers. As the process was ongoing, the judge said, hey, I don't want any parts of this, Tony, so we're not going to admit you. Also, we got to look into what lawsuit that's being referenced here by Judge Abrams. So the lawsuit is against Diddy and several of his companies, right? It says Buzbee represents a man who says Diddy assaulted him at a party for his Ciroc vodka in 2022. And we're actually going to get into the lawsuit here. I've got the full lawsuit. Let me make sure I put it on the screen so y'all could see it. And we're going to see what actually happened in this lawsuit and what's at stake for this alleged victim. So I just want to read the introduction and then we'll actually go down to the factual background. So in the initial lawsuit, we have John Doe, versus Diddy and his other companies. This case seeks compensatory and punitive damages for assault. The assault took place at a Ciroc vodka party in LA at an event hosted by the liquor brand and Diddy, who claimed to hold an ownership stake in the brand and served as its celebrity spokesperson. The conduct described herein is shockingly typical of how the defendant Diddy conducted himself for many years. Many individuals and entities facilitated and conspired with this abhorrent conduct. Diddy is believed he was above the law and could do whatever he wanted. He is not and cannot. All right. And then they've got a little background. For decades, Diddy's been doing this. Here are his businesses and connections. And then we're going to skip down here to the factual background and actually see what happened and what went down in the situation and what's at stake because Tony Buzbee failed to do what he's supposed to do. What do we have? In or around 2022, during a promotional party for the launch of Combs or for Diddy's Ciroc vodka drink, Diddy assaulted the plaintiff, a businessman from LA, from the LA area and owner of a family business specializing in renting luxury cars and jewelry. Over the previous years, plaintiff had established a business relationship with Diddy, who was a customer of his rental business, often renting vehicles or jewelry for himself or those in his entourage. Combs personally invited the plaintiff to the Ciroc party. The plaintiff accepted based on he and Combs' relationship. Combs told the plaintiff that many other high-profile guests in the music and entertainment business would attend the party. The plaintiff saw the party as an opportunity to further promote himself and his business. Makes sense. Once at the party, the plaintiff noticed many high-profile guests. The plaintiff took the photographs below, which shows Diddy on the couch discussing the Ciroc business with other high-profile individuals. Multiple bottles of Combs Ciroc vodka can be seen on the table. And here's the picture. Man, he was in a room with some elites there. During this event, Diddy instructed the plaintiff to join him in Combs' private office. The plaintiff went into the office where the two were alone. The plaintiff assumed Combs or Diddy wanted to have a discussion about business. However, the plaintiff immediately realized Diddy was intoxicated and acting strangely. Diddy began awkwardly moving closer to the plaintiff. As he did so, Diddy removed his pants and exposed his you-know-what. Lord. Diddy continued to move closer and then grabbed the plaintiff's you-know-what through his pants, squeezing them in a rough and inappropriate manner, we'll say. The plaintiff was shocked and disoriented, frozen momentarily, and did not know how to respond to the weirdly inappropriate advance by Diddy. The situation escalated until another individual, professional athlete A, oh my God. We got OBJ in here again. It's OBJ. Oh man, what is going on here? Professional athlete A, who has not been named, I guess, maybe Tony Buzbee got some money out of him, entered the office and intervened, which ended Diddy's assault of the plaintiff. At this moment, the plaintiff escaped from Diddy and left the office. After escaping the office, the plaintiff left the party to return home. To help the plaintiff document the encounter, the plaintiff took a photograph of the Ciroc vodka Diddy gave to him at the party that Combs ultimately assaulted the plaintiff. It is shown below. Okay, so there's the picture. As a result of this incident, the plaintiff has suffered significant emotional distress and trauma. He continues to deal with the psychological and emotional consequences of the events that happened in Combs' private office. All right, so we got the causes of action. Obviously, Diddy, you can't be out there grabbing other people's stuff. And this is respectfully
Stop the cap.
Submitted by the Buzbee law firm. You got Tony Buzbee and the gang. So again, this is what's at stake for this John Doe. If there's an issue with Tony Buzbee's admission again, and he doesn't clear things up with the judge coming up next Tuesday, there's going to be problems with this entire claim. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. I can imagine that this seems more realistic, and this is something I can actually see happening, but we'll have to wait and see what the evidence shows and if this is one of the ones that Diddy settles or it moves forward. Let me know what y'all think about this in the comments and in the chat.